Whoa, people, we are alive and well. He decided to ditch me today to go talk to friends. And apparently, I'm not cool enough for him anymore. He doesn't like me anymore. So that's how it works. Right?
You can be emotional right now?
Emotional? Oh, you're calling me a beach? You calling me a girl? No? It's not good for you,
So
right?
what's going on here?
I don't like you anymore. I'm gonna find a new white friend.
Okay. What's the video?
The video? We don't videos. We don't talk about videos. It's about producing good quality content, right?
Okay.
All right, let me have that up so people can see me better, and then put it right there. All right, so today we're looking back at the NALCS week 3 and looking at the standings and stuff like that. So pretty much looking at North America for a bit. And we started off today with Echo Fox versus FlyQuest. Honestly, looking at the game, I thought FlyQuest had it in the bag, and then FlyQuest decided to throw.
Wait, who versus who?
Echo Fox versus FlyQuest.
Oh, okay.
And then the FlyQuest was playing really well up to a certain point, and then decided to not play really well up to a certain point. So
it's very specific.
yeah, they won a team fight, but they were too low. They tried to take Baron. Echo Fox aced them, and then they take the Baron themselves, and then they win the game.
I mean, like, Santorin played out of his mind this week. It really frustrated me, to be honest.
He's gotten so much better now.
No, he's the best player on this team at this point. I like him and Paul Belter are pretty much the only two players that I think are just really competent. I think that Viper has the capabilities of developing into a bit like a middle to upper tier top laner.
But
like, it's just as it stands right now. Even though I think Viper has the talent, I don't think he is at the level where I would say that he's still holding this team back. Like, I don't think, like, even Paul Belter, I mean, honestly, didn't play that well today. I don't think anybody really besides Santorin played well today. Paul Belter, stupid Phoenix. Why am I saying...
Yeah.
He played against Phoenix today. Like, honestly, I don't think he played insanely bad, but Paul Belter should have honestly beat... I feel like he should have beat Phoenix a little bit better. I mean, harder. Or even at all, honestly, based off of how he's played throughout pretty much this entire year. But it just, I don't know, it wasn't the case. I'm not really too, like, happy about the level at which Rush is playing at this year. But it worked out pretty well.
I mean, it only worked, it was a close game for a bit. FlyQuest threw, technically, they were in control, though. They could have won the game. All they had to do after the Dragon fight they won was reset, heal up, place deep wards, and then take Baron after destroying the Blast Cone. They were way too what's the word I would use? Trigger happy, panicky, because they were in control for a bit. They were dictating the tempo of the game, and then we just see them throw, and it's like they shouldn't be doing that. They've gotten better than that. It was just really disappointing to see them go back to old habits like that.
Okay.
So that was really disappointing to see that they went back to their older habits, and then they just lost a free. They lost a free game because of that. This was a free game. They already were winning. They already had it all set up, and then they made one big mistake for the very end.
Like, honestly, again, we acknowledged that the bot lane was going to be a big weakness in this matchup, and Paulo, 100% was the strongest player in this game. Like, I think without a doubt, we like. It was preemptive how bad this bot lane was going to go in favor of the Echo Fox, but it went even worse than pretty much anybody could have expected. Like, there's no reason that Apollo, I think he's great, should take over the game this much. Like, it's just unacceptable for a team, like, to get this far. Like, Apollo is a middle tier ADC. I agree. Like, I think that he's middle to upper tier. But he absolutely demolished this team. All around, I think that FlyQuest was unable to close at a lead. But I honestly think that it was a substantial enough lead to where they could have just closed out the game. But I think that FlyQuest is pretty much showing that I know they're not the elite team that their record had shown at the beginning of this week. I think they're going to probably end up either slightly in playoffs or right out of it.
But it looks like they're better than they're showing, but they're still showing older habits of being that bad team people remember. Like, today is going to be a game people remember and hold against them for, like, okay, this is FlyQuest I remember. This is the FlyQuest I was expecting coming into the split.
And
Right.
I honestly don't think this was a really clean. Like again, doesn't bode well for Rush. I mean,
Echo Fox.
Echo Fox because. I mean, they didn't play that well. I mean, Phoenix has been playing pretty solid this year. I think that's been fine. No, you can't really see. He's been one of the better players on this team.
I think you just like to give unworthy credit.
I think you like to just dictate. You came in the year thinking that Phoenix was bad. He's been really surprisingly good this year.
I think he's surprisingly okay.
I mean, he's above. He's definitely in the top 6.
He's definitely nothing stand out. Though.
He's in the top 6. That's standout in my opinion. I think if you try and argue that he's not, you're wrong. Like he is. Yeah, but like reality is, Phoenix is one of the most solid players on this team. Bot lane is really good. So I mean, I think obviously the weakness in jungle and top are going to be a pretty substantial. It's going to hinder this team too much. Even if they can kind of get the lead in these lanes, which they're not going to against the top teams, like they're not decisive enough. And if Rush can come back to form, I think this team easily makes playoffs because the only weakness is going to be top lane, and I don't think that's that big a deal. But
yeah,
it's all going to hinge on that, and it does not look like that's going to be a case because
the heck.
What's up?
The heck?
It doesn't look like that's going to be. I'll skip back to it because honestly, like even though he is playing pretty, he's playing pretty terrible, and it's been every single game. It's not been like he's had one standout performance. It's been every single game that I think he's been absolutely terrible. You can't.
On the Lee Sin, he looked a little bit more like he had a brain.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He still was not one of the better performers on Lee Sin this year. He's just been all around a pretty terrible player. So I think that this team is going to be a solid. Again, I think they're going to be fighting with FlyQuest this year to probably like for that last playoff spot. I think that's going to be between them, FlyQuest, and Optic Gaming are going to be the 3 fighting for it.
Yeah, I can see it. I just don't think like FlyQuest. If you're thinking about this win, that wasn't even clean. That's based off someone messing up. Like that's literally someone messing up for you to win the game. They think you can't always bank on that. That's a problem.
What was the second game? I don't even remember.
Good old Cloud9 versus Clutch.
Oh my god.
I mean, I would say I told you so that Cloud9 was good.
Did I even say no? Did I not say Cloud9 was going to win too?
You said in the description box below you were going to put Clutch win.
I don't even think you remember what happened yesterday.
I think you want to trick our viewers into believing that you're skewing the wrong opinion of me.
What? Okay, whatever. I said Cloud9 was going to win. It was pretty obvious by just based off of the recent performances. Cloud9's been a pretty solid team all around. I think that a big problem in this league right now is giving Ezreal to anybody. I think Ezreal is one of the most solid ADCs in general in the entire league, and Sneaky's really good on him.
But you shouldn't be giving Ezreal to the people who were already good on Ezreal before he got buffed. That's the problem, because they didn't give Dokla Yorick because he already knew how to play Yorick at a good level when it was bad, so he's going to play it at a better level when the champion is better.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't think anybody, as it stands right now, should be getting Ezreal, because that has been pretty much the deciding factor in who's going to be the winning team in most of the games recently. I don't think, I think Sneaky's a great Ezreal, but I think in general you need to start banning this because.
But I think that Sneaky and Bane get a little bit more of a what's that word? They have more of a head start because they were always good on Ezreal. Sneaky and Bane were known for
Ezreal's been a staple ADC forever. Every
there were
single
certain times he wasn't good though.
I mean, there was times, but every single one of these ADC mains has played a lot of Ezreal. There's no. I'm sorry. There's no one got a head start. Everybody's been playing him forever. I mean,
but these two, I remember being more standout Ezreal players than other players.
Piglet played it in season 4.
He was better at Vayne though.
It doesn't matter who he's better at. He was good on. I mean, Ezreal. Like all of these players have played it. I don't think it's a standout thing. I think that again, Ezreal is a bit over the top right now. On top of the fact that Sneaky's just a good Ezreal. He's not.
I think this game is based around. I like the level 2 thing that Lyra did. He knew the tendency of the Shen Nocturne bot lane that Cloud9 had always did. But then after that first blood that he gave them, Lyra just became non-existent again.
I think that Lyra honestly does attempt to do stuff. Non-existence is not something I would say is his. I think it's more so over-aggression and more mindless aggression. He goes over the top in trying to get things to happen around the map, and he doesn't really think too much on them. So I think that if we want to see like a Clutch Gaming, obviously, I think they've really degraded this week. I think that Huni looks like to be one of the worst top laners. It's kind of sad to say. He's went below Darshan in my power rankings.
Maybe he's just washed up.
I don't know about that. Well, I'm going to give him more time before I even think about saying that. But as it stands right now...
Licorice played pretty good today.
They played good.
Played amazing. Sneaky played amazing. Nisqy played good. They wanted to run the Galio comp with the Shen Nocturne.
I think that
Piglet had the Sivir, though. I mean, Piglet wasn't playing that bad, but...
It's just a comp just built around killing the ADC. You can't do anything about it.
But, I mean, the team wasn't even coordinating around protecting him. Like, one of the fights they had... Piglet's trying to kill someone while the other team is trying to kill the Ezreal with Arcane Shift and Flash Out.
Like, honestly, it more so than anything, I think that the team needs a sense of direction. Like, mechanically, Lyra's fine. It's just more so his decision making is absolutely terrible, and to an extent, it's putting his whole team behind. Like, I think that him being aggressive is fine, and mechanics are not the problem. I don't care what people say. He's not mechanically misplaying a lot of these fights. It's just, like, not thinking beforehand. Like, he wants to make these aggressive plays happen, but I don't think, like, they're just not enough. There's not enough thought process put into them. He's making these kind of jungle invades and just expecting Huni to follow up. He's making ganks that are getting consistently counter ganks because everybody's so telegraphed. Like, this team is not going to succeed with the level of play that Lyra's putting out. And Huni, honestly, might be one of the worst players. Huni and Lyra are keeping this team back. I think this team would be a solid upper tier team without those two right now.
But that's interesting because people were saying they would be a solid upper tier team with these two.
Well, these two are the ones completely holding this team back. Until I see something come out of them, I don't see this team challenging for the upper tier playoff spots. And honestly, maybe they're fighting to stay in playoffs at this point because everybody on the bottom half of the league just improved drastically this week.
We'll get to that in a moment. I still don't think I'm not seeing enough from the rest of the guys either. But even this game, I think Cloud9 showed why they're still power ranked second, obviously behind the next team, which is Team Liquid. Team Liquid versus Optic. I mean, did Optic get better today?
No. Why would you say that? No.
They made some pretty decent decisions early game.
They did nothing. Sion pick was absolutely atrocious. He was useless. Like, I'm sorry, the bot lane again.
They had an early game lead for a bit though.
It doesn't matter about the early game lead. I think that Team Liquid's early game is just one of the weakest parts. It is the single weakest part of their game. I think it's a little bit easy to take advantage of because I think they're relying. I don't know what it is mostly. I think it might be a lack of pressure that Xmithie generates extremely early. He's not as aggressive as most of the early game junglers, but I just like Crown was put into a situation where he had to 3v1 Jensen. Like, Dokla was horrible.
I mean, Optic did try to gank Jensen, but Jensen, like, he just showed why he's better than Crown. I think Jensen's just better than Crown. Like, today showed a visible level of skill that Jensen has over Crown. I'm not saying that that's going to happen for a lot of the Western mid laners to be better than Korean mid laners, but I definitely think that Western mid laners, definitely the top Western mid laners can beat the lower tier Korean mid laners. And today, it was shown that they tried ganking him constantly. He tried to all-in him a lot, and it never worked. This was based off Xmithie generating no pressure in lane for Jensen.
Are we counting Crown as an Korean mid laner now? Wasn't he a Korean reject?
He's a North American Korean mid laner.
And he was rejected from Korea. That's why he's in NA. Don't act like this is a Korean mid laner that got transferred because he was good. I mean, he was literally not able to get a job in Korea, so he's forced in NA. Don't. I'm not going to give Jensen credit for beating an upper tier.
But he's beaten Crown before. This is not even new.
The second time he beat Crown, he was also the single worst, like, mid laner.
I mean, Jensen doesn't go in thinking he's gonna play a terrible Korean mid laner. Like, imagine playing a basketball game against like LeBron James and you thinking like, man, he's gonna beat me, and then you beat him because LeBron just sucks one day. Like, you don't go in thinking like LeBron's gonna be bad. You think like, hey, I'm playing against one of the best.
Okay, I hate when you do this. I'm gonna be honest. Stop going in. The reality of it is, Crown is not good. Crown isn't good. He wasn't good at Worlds. You cannot give. I'm not giving Jensen credit for beating Crown when in reality Crown just wasn't good. You can't say you went in with a good mindset. The mindset doesn't matter because mindsets are not what win lane. Laning prowess and all these things happen, and reality is
you said based off mechanics. And this would just beat him in lane by himself.
Yes, no one is literally saying anything. What I'm saying is giving him credit for being a Korean mid laner, when in reality Crown is not good enough to be a Korean mid laner anymore.
Like that's his ethnicity.
I don't care. You're then why are you giving him credit for being? What does Korean mid laner mean in your opinion? Just Korean?
I mean, they're generally supposed to be really good.
Yes,
and
but
a lot of them have been good at various points.
So you're just making stereotypes then. I'm being like reality is Crown has not been good for a long time. Crown has not been.
But he's been playing recently pretty decent. Up until this game.
But not to the old level of it. He's still not to his old level.
You even said he wasn't going to come back to that level.
That doesn't mean any. I'm still. What I'm saying is, I'm not giving him credit for being a Korean mid laner. That's all I'm saying.
But like, I do think that Jensen is just better.
He is better, yes, but he's not. I think you're saying. I think you gave him a little bit too much credit by saying, "Wow, he beat a Korean mid laner." That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he's washed up in North America.
He is washed up in North America. That's why he's here. That's the reality of life.
I think he could have made it to a challenger Korean team.
I don't think so. Not with the way he's playing.
Fly has a team.
Fly was better than him.
That still bugs me as why did they take Fly instead of Crown? Fly got them all those wins.
Like the reality of it is, I don't think Jensen's the best Jensen is probably the best mid laner in NA. I don't think really anybody's in contention right now.
I mean, you got Damonte.
Damonte is playing decent, but not at the same level. I think Jensen is still unarguably the best mid laner.
I mean, today it definitely showed it the way he was able to be put behind and still generated massive amounts of pressure in team fights. He got ganked constantly. I think who did they give MVP of the game to?
I don't remember, man. I don't keep track of it.
I think they gave it to Core JJ. I think Jensen deserved it in this game.
Core JJ is the best player on this team.
Not in but like in this specific game, I think that Jensen was more valuable considering that he was able to not die and give up too many resources to Optic in order for Optic to be massively far ahead.
I agree that he generated a lot of pressure, and that's probably a lot. But again, I feel like Core JJ's movement, like pretty much impact throughout the entire game and during the team fights, is just quite a bit more than what I would say Jensen does. I think that Jensen is an incredibly good player, but I think Core JJ is just the single best player on this team.
That's true. And then you have TSM versus Golden. We are terrible in predictions today.
I mean, I don't care. TSM versus Golden.
I got two right though.
TSM versus Golden Guardians. I mean, like,
I feel bad for Bjergsen. He played his heart out today. He played really well.
He played really well today. I think this is the best. But there's also a few games where he could have played better, and this team would have won.
But so, like, even today, just today, you can see it in just the way he's playing. You can feel what's going on. Like he played his heart out today. And I mean, we talked about this last night in your kitchen, alone, with no one around.
Stop it.
I thought that you don't like this option, but I think if Grid had his wrist better, I think Grid should play again.
You literally agreed with me with Acadian for the longest time, and you're just saying it's.
I know, but
you're going on paper and not in reality. Is Acadian's making things happen around the map? Grig never did that. A supportive style works on paper. It did not work on out inside of the actual games itself.
Grig, that's what they need, though.
It's not what they need. He is literally not the problem. The biggest problem on this team is the gigantic underperformance of bot lane. Acadian's not taking resources. He's only generating early pressure, and that's all you can ask for. Like, Acadian is not the problem on this team. I'm sorry. Like, Sven and Smoothie should not be playing this poorly. Bjergsen's been underperforming throughout the entire year mostly, so I think this is his best.
Year. It's only been come on, dude. It's only been 3 weeks.
Well, it's the entire year. That's all we can say. I think he's played well today, but he's not been up to his level. But the reality of it is, if I keep saying that, but if they want to start going, I think at this point you kind of have to start considering a new ADC or something. Like, Smoothie is still pretty underperforming. It's the entire bot lane is underperforming, and I don't know what the reason is. Like, Sven...
You're saying basically go with, Mr. Rawls, who was in their academy?
I don't know. I don't know what the solution to this is, but it's not Sven. It's not Smoothie either. This whole bot lane has just been a mess, man. Like, Golden Guardians, I think... I'm going to give them credit to an extent. I think that they actually figured out what their style of game is. Like, a lot of what what is that? Whatever. I think they kind of understood what their style of game choice was, like what CLG figured out last week. I think that they kind of figured out they need to put Haunter on a tank. I think that like the bot lane on Ole should be on a tankier thing too. I think that with this dual front line of Haunter and Ole, they had stuff going I mean, the Karthus pick was incredible on Golden Guardians. That essentially single-handedly won them the game. Even when they kind of started losing team fights, the Karthus ult was just turning the game around. Definitely played really well today, and I think that Contracts has definitely stepped it up from last year. I think that he's pretty good on these carry junglers, and I really appreciate him not essentially letting that last year's performance get into his mind. Liquid or not, sorry.
Did Golden Guardians really play good today, or did TSM just not know how to play their comp?
I agree. Both statements are probably true. In this,
I still don't think Golden Guardians played anything good.
I think that I think that
compared to, if you look at the comps, I think TSM massively knew that they could have won this game.
They could have won this game, but I do think that Golden Guardians did actually 100% learn what their team is about. I think this is the first time where I've seen a synergized, more so confident or a concise drafting phase, because I think Golden Guardians, what they drafted today is what they should be doing the rest of the year. Like a lot of these teams like CLG, Golden Guardians, and 100 Thieves are on the upward trajectory. I think a lot of them are going to make it to the playoffs. I think the bottom three teams, right as it stands, are probably going to be Optic, Echo Fox, and TSM.
How the mighty have fallen.
Mm-hmm. So I think that Golden Guardians, I think they've genuinely figured out their team. I think they're going to make playoffs? Possibly. I think they're incredibly good, but I think they at the very least are not the 0-8 team. 0-16 team that we made them out to be. 16 is football. It's 18.
They were just 0-4 like a couple weeks ago. This is the thing. Here's the thing with this game. I don't think Golden Guardians played substantially well. I think that they played well based off what TSM was giving them. I think that if you look at the game, TSM was massively playing a lot more strategically and better around the map. I think that they still don't know how to play around anyone that's not Bjergsen, and that's a very big hindrance. They don't know how to play around anyone that's not Bjergsen.
I think that TSM has a higher. They've played around Broken Blade the entirety of the year. Let's be honest. That's been the person they've been playing around, and most of their wins came off that. The games they focused on Broken Blade, that's the games they've won more of. But do I think I'm gonna be honest? I think that Golden Guardians. Do I think they played well today? I don't. But this was definitely a step in the right direction. I think that they kind of figured out I would say they figured out a way to play their team, because I think Golden Guardians genuinely looked better than they ever have this specific game. I still think they're not, if TSM comes back to form, they won't beat them. I think that Golden Guardians is still going to be a lower pack team. Middle to lower pack team. They won't get any better than that.
But that's still a step better than being 10th place back to back.
I think this was a step in the right direction, and they could gradually improve. I'm glad their coaches figured out what to do with their team. That's all I'm happy about.
And then now, last game, 100 Thieves versus CLG. This was even worse of a game. This was terrible. You know why it makes it so bad? They know Victor's bad. And they put him in the place he's not supposed to be. They put him in mid lane. This game was horrible. I saw this game and I was like, oh, this is garbage. I walked outside. I went to a fast food place. I was hitting on a girl. I came back and the game was still going on. I was like, I guess I'll just watch this piece of garbage.
I'm going to put 2 points out on 100 Thieves. I think that Someday and Bang are absolutely turned around this year, and they're playing really well. But
they are literally carrying the team, because everybody else is actually Huhi did not play good.
I think Huhi actually played well today.
But did not play good.
Huhi played poorly. Sorry, that was my correct. Because I remember the Rise ult, but I forgot about the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Huhi played poorly, but Anda, honestly, Anda is the single reason as to why they won this game. I'm going to be honest. I think that his stalling in the last team fight, where he Zonia'd, got all these things, and kind of forced them to continually focus him because he wasn't fully dead, is what turned around this team fight, because it gave Bang the ability to turn on this backline. They couldn't fully focus on Bang. And Aphromoo, honestly, his ability to, in terms of team fights, he played well, but he kept consistently playing poorly besides that.
You have, the Baron take 100 Thieves did. CLG ran around the upper quarter, the top lane, and then try to fight them. When Bang had just Baron recalled and Bang and ran all the way up there to fight. Like they had no ADC. Oh my, this game was terrible.
I think that I honestly think that the reason another big detriment to this 100 Thieves team is they don't know how to fully close out. The only reason they were able to do it this time is because of the double Mountain Drake that allowed them to take Baron fast enough. Like without that, they would have been collapsed on by CLG too fast.
Also, CLG literally just played that much worse than 100 Thieves today.
I mean, in all around, maybe not, but I think that in terms of they're the 2-star players on this team in Someday and Bang honestly played out of their minds today. They played really well, and I think this is I think that Someday has played absolutely tremendous these past 2 games. He's played really well. Bang is again another point I put out. I said that if you pick the Ezreal from CLG, they will lose. And
oh my goodness! There was that TP game. Here's that TP Darshan did. That TP sucked.
You can't cancel a TP. That's the whole reason.
That doesn't mean the initial play of it didn't suck.
I mean, yeah. But I think that Darshan, I don't want to blame too much of him because the reason he was put on an island at this game, and a lot of his engages were pretty much he had to sacrifice himself to keep his team alive. Like I don't want to put too much on Darshan because I think that was a lot of the team misplaying more so than him specifically.
There was bot lane trades that they could have won against Bang that they didn't fully close out on. Wiggly, a little bit not faster on the trigger on Xin Zhao. This game was. This is one of the. This is probably one of the worst games I've seen in a while.
I would disagree with that. I don't think it's I don't think it's as bad as you're making out to be.
This is not as bad as the game that we went to, but this is up there. This is not anything good.
I don't think it was that bad. It really is. I mean, again, there was 2 really good players. It came down to the stalling. What's his name? Onda played really well at the very end of the game. I think that Bang played it well throughout the entirety of the game, and so did Someday. I think that there's a lot of things that were really just not giving credit to 100 Thieves, more so as taking away from CLG. I think that I do not think either one of these teams played clean, but it's a really good sign for us 100 Thieves because as it stands right now, they are very much capable of matching a lot of the lanes that Team Liquid has. Besides mid lane, I think that it kind of shows that they have the capabilities of being one of these top tier teams because someday, if he keeps playing the way he's gonna manhandle Impact. Bang is playing better than Doublelift right now, like these past 2 games. So
I don't know about that.
I think we're giving Bang Doublelift a little bit too much credit because I think
they've been playing relatively close together.
I think that more so Core JJ has been playing really well. I still think Doublelift's playing good. But I do think Bang, these past 2 games, I think that all around the entire year, Doublelift might have been playing better, but I think that's a result of a lot of the pressure taken off of him because of the lanes succeeding. On top of the fact, he did get a couple solo kills. I was surprised during the Cloud9 game, but these past 2 games, I've been really impressed by Bang. Your camera's blurry, but
It is?
Very much. So, I was really impressed by Bang this year.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with the camera.
It's not focused on anything.
Oh, hold on. Let me do this really quick. This will brighten it up.
It's not brightness, it's focus. But again, Bang has been playing pretty well recently. Some days come back to form, in my opinion. I think that as it stands, he'd probably beat anybody in lane in NA right now.
But I don't know. It's a little too early to say. Like this team just started getting momentum and started showing any type of life other than what they were showing just a couple weeks ago.
But this has been 2 games in a row now for
I want to wait at least another week to see what they've been showing because a lot of the teams are playing these. I don't know. This is just not anything concrete.
I mean, I didn't say 100 Thieves was a good team. I said that this is a very good showing from them. I think that again, 2 players came back to form. He played really well yesterday, not great today, but I'm happy about that. I think that this 100 Thieves team is gonna, by the end of the split, come to towards the top of the standing because I think they're gonna be towards the top. The CLG team, I think they're a solid middle of the pack team, nothing more. I think that obviously their comps, their team in general gets kind of messed up when you pick away that Ezreal, but I think they could probably make do with some other picks once they kind of figure it out. I really do think it's mostly the Ezreal that's carrying the CLG right now though. The poke comp is gonna work for them, and the tank comp is fine. I think that you can't really stop Darshan from playing the role that he's going to be playing in these teams, and And can you really do it to anybody else? It's mostly going to rely on the ADC picks. That if you want to beat out CLG, you really need to take away this Ezreal. I think that's probably the same case with the Cloud9, but they're a lot more versatile.
I think just putting on Darshan on tanks like Orin is fine. I think that when you come to the rest of the game, I think you don't put Power People on Victor. Like, what in the world is what are they thinking? Victor literally was like the teams played Victor for like 2 weeks, and then literally like you haven't seen Victor in every single region. Literally, people just stopped playing it. It was so terrible.
I wasn't too. I don't think the pick's great, but whatever. I mean, it wasn't the worst part of the team. I think a lot of it came down to I really don't think Stixxay was that useful. Like
I think both teams played bad, but 100 Thieves' star players played better than CLG star players.
I agree with that. I think that the fact that Honda was able to get back into the backline with Someday and then not with Camille. I'm saying with Someday and get on to Stixxay during the team fight where he was caught out and kill Stixxay, that's ridiculous. Like CLG's ability to team fight, in my opinion, is really terrible. I think they know how to kite back, but beyond that, if they're gonna lose to anybody in a straight up team fight if they don't have the Ezreal. So, like, not even just the Ezreal. I think that like if you're not playing the reactionary playstyle that you should be playing as CLG, you're not gonna beat any of these teams. And we're gonna stall out to late game as CLG is not gonna work because 100 Thieves is honestly just better at it. So, all around, I just think this is a moderately good showing for 100 Thieves. I'd like to see a little more proactivity from the jungler and the mid laner, but I still think that's pretty good. I think this team's coming around to form. CLG is gonna... I mean, they looked fine. I think they need to get a little more picks in the ADC role, but for the most part, their defined style is really good in my opinion. So, we'll see what happens from here. You have anything to say about...
No, we'll do after this video, so we'll have something else for tomorrow instead of one video. We'll do in a week 4 predictions, day 1 after this. But yeah, I think after this, man, I mean, this is a step in the right direction for some teams, but that doesn't mean it's good though. Just because it's a step in the right direction doesn't mean that this is anything that's like good in terms of looking at it toward the better teams in the league.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be. Team Liquid. I don't think they're going to beat Cloud9. They're not in that level yet. But I'm very excited.
They can beat up. See, I think they can.
They can challenge.
Likewise.
They can. They can challenge anybody but Cloud9 and Team Liquid right now.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. Comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy.
You got little key phrases to say now.
Hit that notification bell. Smash, obliterate the like button. Is that how it works?
See you later. I gotta sneeze.